Hey guys, so in today's video, I'm going to compare motorcycle navigation units, specifically those that use CarPlay and Android Auto. So for those in the Philippines, it's almost time for the FJ Moto Mountain Cross Adventure. And navigation is a huge part of that. But honestly, my experience using my phone to navigate earlier this year in the last edition, it in the end resulted in a very expensive phone replacement because I was using it in the rain, in the mud, in the water. And not only that, it was actually really stressful, especially on day 3, to have to make sure my phone stayed charged so as not to, lose the event's GPS tracker and get disqualified. But then, because my phone was wet, it was raining all afternoon, I couldn't charge it with a wire, and I didn't have a wireless charger. So anyway, basically, take it from me, investing in one of these systems can pay for themselves. So specifically, I want to talk about my experience with 3 different options, ranging from the premium Chigee AIO-5 Lite to the cheaper, kind of more generic Carpuride W603D. And as an added bonus, I want to talk about the minimalist option, the Beeline Moto II. So off the bat, what you need to know is I was lucky enough to have received all 3 of these for free. And so that's why I get to compare them and share my insights with you. And anyway, since I am comparing them all, you'll get pretty much an equal level of quote-unquote bias. And I'll just do my best to tell you which one I think is best for your needs. But full disclosure though, if you buy a Carpuride from their website using my discount code or a Chigee from Chigee Philippines and mention that I referred you, I will get a small kickback at no extra cost to you. And if so, just consider that as a small token of thanks for putting this info together. But really, honestly, it doesn't matter to me whether or not you buy. I'm just trying to make a helpful video. Now, the Beeline, for its part, in the Philippines, you can get that in Motomarket and Motoworld stores, and I receive no compensation for any sales made. So again, these are all local Philippine distributors and shops except for Carpuride, which is via their international website. Anyway, let's get into the comparison. So of course, first off, let's talk about the top of the range Chigee AIO-5 Lite. I've had the chance to test this over about 2,000 kilometers now. I have it on my Himalayan 450. And my system consists of course, the main AIO-5 Lite smart riding system, SRP 25,500 pesos, and it comes with the front and rear HD cameras. The optional accessories include the screen protector worth 600 pesos, the optional tire pressure monitoring sensors, which come as either internal or external. So I chose the external sensors worth 3,550 pesos for the pair. And I'll tell you how those two systems differ later. So the only optional extra I'm missing is the AIO-5 Remote Control Pro. So all in all, that whole system costs 29,650 pesos. Though you can check for discounts, again, just say I sent you there. Okay, so Chigee, they offer a 1-year warranty and it's a local distributor here in the Philippines. So you get free professional installation and an easier time should any issues come up, though I haven't faced any myself. So the AIO-5 is their flagship product, alongside the more affordable AIO-5 Play, which doesn't have the cameras, and the smaller XR2 without the cameras and without physical buttons, so kind of a more basic system. They also have versions of these that integrate directly with BMW motorcycles, in case that's what you're riding. Okay, now, for its part, the Carpuride W603D that I have is the smaller of Carpuride's dashcam equipped motorcycle stereo systems, which is what they call it, and it's available on their website for $299.99 US, or about 18,000 pesos. But you do get a 30% discount if you use my code, bringing it down to just 12,600 pesos, which is, frankly, a steal. But let's consider everything at SRP. So at SRP, it's 1,500 pesos cheaper than the AIO-5 Play, so without the dash cams. And Carpuride offers an unconditional 30-day return period and a 2-year warranty. Purchasing is direct via their international website or Amazon if you prefer. There is no local distributor here in the Philippines, so of course you have to install it yourself. But I've found their company easy to contact online for any questions and concerns. Delivery time for me to Manila was about 8 days. Your mileage may vary. So I had my Carpuride unit installed by Reborn & Co., who took a lot of time organizing and neatly routing all of the wires on my Yamaha MT-07. Now, that was just in July of this year, and I've mainly used it for day trips out of town and commuting around the city. Like Chigee, Carpuride also offers systems that directly interface with BMWs. So, to get right to the point, if you just need a basic navigation system with no bells and whistles that supports CarPlay or Android Auto mirroring with the safety of a dashcam, pretty much a must here in the Philippines, honestly, and you're okay to spend for the install or install it yourself, and also you're willing to put up with shipping it back in case of any problems, warranty claims, then Carpuride, the Carpuride units do the job almost perfectly. Now, I'm not going to run through the features of the Carpuride because I already have a separate full YouTube video walking through all of the features, all of the menus of the Carpuride, and you can check that out by clicking the link in the description if this is Facebook, and by clicking up here, here, whichever, and in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, both the Chigee and Carpuride again have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto mirroring, and they both have audio integration between the wireless CarPlay Android Auto and your helmet intercom. So you can be operating the navigation or even Spotify on the actual screen, but hear all the audio on your helmet intercom, your Cardo, your Senna. And they both have 1000 nit screens that are viewable in bright sunlight and easy to operate. They also have physical buttons, loop recording on the dashcam, and both are fully waterproof, so you don't have to worry about taking them anywhere. And I put my AIO-5 through a hell of a beating a few days ago, so I know it works in any conditions. So basically, the question is, if the Carpuride can do all of this for only 12,600 pesos with a discount, is there a reason to spend the extra 6 to 15,000 pesos more for the Chigee AIO-5 Lite? What do you get for paying up to about twice as much? Well, the first thing I noticed was just better overall refinement. It is just really a more premium experience, perhaps befitting more premium bikes. Unlike, companies that just take generic components and slap a brand on them, which many of these navigation systems are, Chigee is one of the few, if not the only company on this space, correct me if I'm wrong, that invests in their own R&D. And in my opinion, it really shows. The operating system and UI are more attractive and better designed, with a lot of useful info on display, even without using the phone mirroring. Whereas on the Carpuride, you'd only use the phone mirroring or the camera display from the dash cams. Now, the screen on the Chigee, though smaller at 5 inches compared to the Carpuride's 6.3-inch display and their option for a 7-inch display, the Chigee's was of better quality, thinner, and had a higher refresh rate. The touchscreen on the Chigee is also very responsive, really pleasing to use, like a high-end smartphone, compared to kind of the stickier feeling on Carpuride's system, which I'm guessing is really down to, higher performance chipset with the Chigee. Overall, as Chigee says on their own website, their product functions like an original factory-installed component. It's just, I think, seamless, high quality, fast, responsive, pleasing to use. I mean, don't get me wrong though, the Carpuride isn't cheap per se, and it's a good quality product with a 2-year warranty. But the Chigee is just a higher class of product all in all. So if all of that matters to you, it's worth the extra expense. But of course, the Chigee has actually a wealth of thoughtful value-added features, again, a byproduct of having their own R&D, that might push you over the line to spend just a bit more to invest in it. Starting with their much higher quality dash cams. The AIO-5 Lite gives you decent quality and stabilized video even at night. It actually beats the night stabilization performance of my DJI Action 3. On the Carpuride, as you'll see on screen, the quality is not as good. And with no stabilization, you get tons of jello cam, especially on that front camera. So especially if you're thinking of using the dash cams for content, the Carpuride's footage is just not good enough, while the Chigee's is just good enough to maybe sneak in a few seconds on your vlog. Now, the Chigee camera also has a killer safety feature that you would pay a ton of money for to get stuck on your bike, which is AI-powered blind spot detection based on the camera. It's pretty amazing. So basically, it alerts you whether there's a vehicle close behind or beside you on your blind spot. And I don't think I have to tell you, as a motorcycle rider, this can really save your life. And of course, if this gets too intrusive, if it's beeping too often, you can adjust the sensitivity of this in the menu settings. And not only that, it also has what you call Sentry mode, which, according to the sensitivity you set it to again in the menus, will automatically record a 1-minute video from the dashcam. I think it's a 1-minute video, if it detects that the motorcycle is being moved while it's parked. So you get kind of this security system too. So again, these features may really be worth the extra money for you. But that's not all. Another favorite feature, of course, is the aforementioned integrated tire pressure monitoring system, which is a godsend, especially for adventure riders. So basically, the tire pressure monitoring is already built into the AIO-5 Lite, but you have to purchase the optional extra tire pressure sensors to get it to work. So what you do is, once you install them, you pair them with the Chigee AIO-5 Lite, then you go into the menus and you set the upper and lower limit of your tire pressure before it beeps the pressure warnings. And you do have to set this because if it is out of range, if it is too high or too low for the range you indicated, it will not stop beeping. So again, it was really useful for me because I just switched from the stock tire of my Himalayan to off-road tires, which are meant to have a lower pressure due to the rigidity of the carcass, I think, basically. And so I had to adjust the calibration of the tire pressure monitor from 32 to about 28 and going down all the way to 15 for off-road use, so it wouldn't be beeping the whole time that I'm off-road. Now, for the TPMS sensor, I chose the external sensor, which has basically a replaceable button cell battery, consumable air seal O-rings, so again, the batteries and these O-rings can be replaced. They're user serviceable. The batteries are easy to remove, and you need to swap them out after about 1.5 years, every 1.5 years. And then there is the slightly more expensive internal version, which is of course harder to install and remove without professional help. But it is more stock looking, for one, and the replaceable battery lasts twice as long, about 3 years. So that's something you should replace around the time you replace your tires after 3 years to make it convenient. And the internal sensor is also for tubeless only and cannot be used with tire sealant. Otherwise, they function pretty much the same. But we're not yet done for the added features of the AIO-5 Lite. It also has its own GPS module, which for someone like me who's really interested in the geography of what I'm riding, I find it really handy. It gives accurate speed and altitude, so it's also useful on the highway in case your speedo is not very accurate. And finally, it's not a device feature per se, but another advantage of buying Chigee is that they do have a local distributor. And these guys know their product really well. They're very responsive and helpful. They'll install it in your motorcycle for free and teach you how to use all the various systems and features. So basically, overall, if you are open to spending more, you do get a lot for the extra spend on the Chigee, all the way from features to after sales. Now, as for any problems I've encountered with either unit, well, mainly I've found that over time, both of them, every now and then, not often, disconnect my phone from CarPlay, so the CarPlay mirroring goes away. However, I've noticed that on the AIO-5, it always reconnects immediately, while sometimes, again, not all the time, on the Carpuride, I've had to restart the system a few times before the CarPlay reconnects. But to be honest, this is a problem on any CarPlay system, especially one that you use to connect to more than one device. And the Carpuride has a thoughtful feature to clear all connections if you just want to kind of start fresh and reconnect your device to avoid all of the little confusion that happens during CarPlay pairing. And then another small issue, because again, the adventure I had a few days ago was really hard on the bike. I noticed that one of the buttons on the Chigee was getting stuck, but the problem went away just with a bit of tweaking of that rubber button. One more important note, mechanic here has proven that the AIO-5 Lite has zero battery drain on the motorcycle when the motorcycle is off. While I'm not so sure about the Carpuride unit because after a couple of weeks of not using my MT-07, my C-Tech comfort connector on that bike indicated that the battery was draining a bit. So this is something that you might want to consider if you're going to put it on a bike that you don't use all the time. So overall, after using both of these, I'm actually perfectly happy with both units. And the main thing I'm happy about is that both of my big bikes have these navigation, CarPlay, mirroring systems. But basically, the Chigee, for the premium price, is just the superior device with a better user experience, more features, even some life-saving ones, and convenient support and after-sales. The Carpuride, especially with my discount code, for its part does everything you need at a more accessible price. And the quality is actually also pretty good. One more thing I should probably mention, there is now also a local branded system called Absolute Rider that also has phone mirroring, TPMS, and dash cams. It's also available at the premium price from several dealers, including FJ Moto Enduro. So I think it's worth checking out, and some of its unique features are it has partial CNC aluminum construction, so it's going to be more durable, and its own 4G module, so it's unique in having its own SIM card, although I'm not quite sure what it's used for because it also pairs with the phone. And it also has a 6-axis gyroscope, and from a video I saw that its app even allows your family members to monitor your location and dashcam in real time for safety. Though I'm sure many of you would not want that. Now, what about the really cheap phone mirroring screens available for up to less than 3,000 pesos on Lazada and Shopee? Well, I don't have any experience with those, but I would expect a significant downgrade in durability, refinement, and after-sales support, if any, from them. But they may be worth a look because not everybody can afford to spend upwards of 3,000 pesos on a system like this. So if you've tried them, please let me know in the comments if they were any good. But now, if you don't want to put a whole screen on your handlebar or behind your windscreen for aesthetic reasons, or you want a navigation device that doesn't require any wiring and thus can be transferred to any motorcycle or even bicycle you own, then consider the lovely little Beeline Moto II. This beautiful little device is waterproof, has a very readable display despite its minimalism, and has a 14-hour battery life. And now, using this mount, you can easily mount and dismount it from any handlebar or even mirror stem. So I use it mainly now on my Vespa, but I also used it in Mongolia on a T7 to record our off-road trails reliably. Now, the navigation and the GPS recording, if you use it, is all done via their dedicated Beeline app on your phone, in contrast to the earlier systems that allowed you to use your app of choice via CarPlay or Android Auto to navigate or record your tracks. Now, the Beeline, though minimalist, does command a premium price. It's 11,990 pesos for the black plastic version and 13,990 for the metal version. Now, the Beeline Moto II, let's remove it from there. This is the mount. You just use rubber bands. So here, the Beeline Moto II is just a very simple but highly functional device, very thoughtfully designed, and in the hand, it reminds me of an Apple product with just how pleasing it is to hold and to use. So instead of a touchscreen, it uses these clever physical buttons integrated into how the display joins with the back panel. So it's kind of in a cross layout. And you'll know the function of each button from the display in front. So each button is multi-function, basically. So, to be honest, for the price, you could already buy a Carpuride unit with my discount code. But what sets the Beeline apart is, again, one, it preserves the aesthetic, especially of retro bikes. So it's perfect for your Scramblers, your Bonnevilles, retro Roadsters, etc. And I guess the killer feature is the ability to transfer it seamlessly, easily from one bike to another, either by transferring the actual mount or just buying several of these plastic mounts. There's no need to mess with a ton of wires or dig into the electrical system of your bike. You just charge this device via USB-C. And that's about it. I feel like I was a bit fast in covering it, but I really just wanted to be as concise as I could while still answering all the important questions. So if I missed anything, if there's anything you want to ask me from my experience using them, please let me know down in the comments. So I really hope this was helpful. And again, if you want to purchase any of these, you can do it while also supporting me at no additional cost by buying either the Carpuride from my link and using my discount code AARONPalabiab, all caps, that's international, or in the Philippines, if you want to buy a Chigee AIO-5 Lite or any one of their systems, then just mention that I referred you. For the Beeline, again in the Philippines, the best and also the cheapest place to get it, even better than the Beeline actual website, is at Motomarket and Motoworld stores. They are the official distributors of the Beeline Moto II. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. This has been AARONPalabiab, and I will see you next time. Ride safe.